Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the One Nation of Gamers Summer Circuit EU Qualifier number 6. We are about to jump into the third place match for this Open between Realistic and LBYS. Osmo, joined once again by Chalky _ Hearthstone. That's his Twitter handle.
Well, it's actually HS. You don't know what that stands for.
Oh, yeah. My fault. Chalky _ HS. And both these players had a little bit of a rough run through their semifinal matchups. LBYS got 3-0'd. Realistic got 3-1. So we actually even haven't seen half of, or 2/3 of Realistic decks, one-third of Realistic decks.
Yeah, and
2/3
2/3 LBYS's. Yeah, he actually, again, a small reminder, LBYS does have a Warlock deck, not a Warrior deck. We saw that Zoo deck failed to perform last series. I'm not sure if that was. I think in the third game it was definitely a little bit of bad luck on his part, but I don't think it lined up too well into the Warrior. However, you do kind of think of Druid as a good matchup for Zoo, so not too great that he lost those matches. He does get kind of another chance to redeem it here.
It's been magical.
Hopefully we get to see his other decks, though. I mean, I always feel like if you're losing a lot with one deck, you should probably switch it up. Just kind of untilt.
No, a lot of players, especially when it's Hunter or Zoo, will just stick with the same thing.
You're just like, dang it! I am so unlucky. I'm queuing it again. Run it back.
Yep. It's sort of a similar ladder experience as well. When I start to lose a lot on ladder, I switch to Hunter. I win one game in 45 seconds, and then I switch back to a real deck, Jockey.
Oh, so Hunter's not a real deck, TJ.
No, I'm just kidding.
Is that what you're saying?
No, it's a respectable deck.
Yeah.
A lot of decision making.
My teammate, Blackout, he got Golden Warrior today. And he was proud that he was the first one on Team Dignitas to get Golden Warrior. I linked him a screenshot. I said, I'm almost there. I have 3 Warrior wins, TJ. 3.
It's just funny because you've actually played Warrior in quite a few
I play Warrior a lot, yeah. Pretty good class.
Yeah. Indeed it is. And looks like this match is going to be Realistic's Shaman versus LBYS Hunter, and LBYS decides to switch it up, and I believe this is the second time we've seen Realistic's Shaman.
Yeah, we saw it. It almost took a win against us, or against Irony's handlock deck. It was close.
Yeah, very close.
Couldn't quite get there. I'm a little surprised LBYS decided to put 3 damage into that totem. I guess he was thinking he didn't want to waste a juggle on it. He wanted to kind of get precision juggles in the coming turns, but the Mech Shaman deck doesn't really play many totem synergies. All having a healing totem out really does is, of course, healing, and besides that, it increases the odds that they get a better totem. And as the Hunter player, you want a lot of damage. You want to push damage as fast as possible, which sometimes means ignoring 0-2s.
Yeah. Did the old flipperoo there. So these guys' pictures corresponds with their deck. So Realistic is on the bottom and LBYS is on the top. So don't let the board flopping.
Yeah, luckily it's not a mirror match, so it's still pretty easy to follow.
Yeah, exactly. Since one player has a Shaman in their lineup and one player doesn't. LBYS has managed to put on quite a bit of damage here so far, and he's in a little bit of a pickle here with a trap on the board that he's not really sure what it is, and having to wait that one extra turn to try and proc the freezing trap is really rough.
Yeah, and this is a spot where I like him going face. I mean, it would make a lot of sense to trade in that 4-2 into the 3-4, make sure your freezing trap hits a 7-6. What I expect is that LBYS only plays freezing trap, and he wants to make sure that Mad Scientist gets a trap off its death rattle. He knows that the 7-6 isn't as it's not threatening. It presents about the same threat as a 3-4, because no matter how much damage it is, your opponent cannot outrace you when they're 17 health behind, and you're a
Yeah.
hunter.
Yeah.
Actually, I wonder how much damage Realistic had here. There was 8 on the board of the hunter, so it's very likely he would just die. But if he just power maced and went face, he would have pushed 10 this turn and left 3 on the board. And then he would have had a potential 14 from hand and 3 on board. So he still would have been about 3 off lethal. Best case scenario. So it's just a very tough task to really push through enough damage this game.
Yeah, he just had a little bit of a slow start, and that one turn where you just don't do anything against the hunter, where you play a creature and then wait because you don't want to proc the freezing trap, is enough for them to usually just run away with the game. And by the time you even get back on board, it's too late because they'll have enough burn damage to just push through and win. So now he's at 6. Taunt Totem won't do anything.
Yeah, the Unleash the Hounds is going to be enough to seal it, but I would expect Rayless to just crackle the Misha. Hope he gets the 4. Oh, wow. It's actually going to crackle the Scientist. I don't like this because I feel like you needed to push that 7 damage. Either way, he's just going to end up dying to that Unleash the Hounds. But LBYS
slow rolling.
Gonna end the game with maximum health after what you would call slow rolling. I don't know, maybe he's alt tabbed. There it is.
Oh, I'm playing Hunter. I totally forgot.
Turn 7 lethal.
Yeah. All right. Well, LBYS manages to find his first victory so far of the final 4 here, and a quick one at that. So he's going to get that Hunter deck out of the way, and still yet to see the Paladin from him. But judging by the theme of his decks, it seems like he's going with a little bit of a faster paced deck lineup, probably Aggro Paladin.
Yeah, that and the Aggro Paladin is pretty generally considered to be objectively the best Paladin archetype at the moment. Mid-range and Control Paladin have definitely kind of fallen off, especially with the advent of Patron Warrior. Really one of those classes that punishes them super hard for all the stuff they do. Maybe they'll come back after the Grand Tournament, but for now it seems to be extinct, almost.
How long do you think it'll be before Blood Knight starts to become a popular tech choice in decks?
I feel like the last time Blood Knight saw serious play was like June and July 2014. I had it in my Aggro Rogue deck, and I ended up cutting it for King Mukla. That was the slot. It was a flex spot, so
the old Blood Knight Mukla flex spot?
Yeah, of course, standard, right? But it was just kind of like, if there was enough Divine Shield in the meta, which there was, Argent Squire was a huge card, and that's, I feel like, the main reason we haven't seen Blood Knight is Argent Squire really died down.
Scarlet Crusader and Argent Squire used to be played in Zoo as well, so sometimes Zoo would run Blood Knight because the old turn 1 Argent Squire, turn 2 coin Blood Knight used to be a sick play.
Make a 6/6 your turn. Yep,
I think it still could be pretty good with the rise of Aggro Paladin.
That's true. I mean, if Aggro Paladin continues to be a big threat going into the Grand Tournament, it could end up, like you said, being a popular tech choice again. We'll have to see.
LBYS gives the old head shake at the Wild Growth.
Yeah, I mean, it's been 2 games of Zoo versus Druid and 2 games of Innervate into Wild Growth.
Yeah.
It's really not what you want to see, especially when it's going to be the same thing again. It's going to be an Innervate Ancient War as well. So, really
into an ancient of lore to
almost,
get back all the cards
vu.
that he expended early on.
Yeah, just a big deja vu for him. Kind of thinking, not like this.
Yeah.
Actually, I believe one of the fun facts he gave us in like his little bio was, let me read the exact thing. You will never ever see me playing Druid
Who
at
said that?
LBYS.
Oh.
He is a very adamant Druid hater, and I know that Druid, a lot of players don't consider it that great. It's it's a solid deck and it's very draw based, and it has its good matchups and it has its very, very mediocre matchups. And I feel like you're either a Druid lover or a Druid hater. And LBYS is a Druid hater. It's almost like ironic when the class you consider so bad just beat you.
After it's like the 5th game in a row of LBYS losing to a druid, he queues up into another druid and he sees Interbait Shade in the wild growth.
Okay.
It zooms in onto his webcam and he takes out a switchblade knife, throws it on his wall, and it sticks into the face of a picture of Malfurion on his wall.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
After he loses this game, he just claws another tally into his wall. That's another loss to Druid.
Another wild growth turn 2.
Well, he's going to be able to clear this. At this moment in time, Swipe is public enemy number 1. But it's what you got to do. You got to play into the Swipe. You got to do it, TJ.
Yep. And you think to yourself, they can't have everything.
They just can't, TJ. It's not fair. It's not allowed.
Life isn't fair. And he could try and dig for Swipe, but I'm not sure if that's going to be a reasonable play, because if he doesn't pick up anything below 4 mana to play, if he wraths for it, then he's in a lot of trouble. So LBYS, all right, he's like, all right, I'm in this. No Swipe.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Let me just trade in everything that I have that has 1 health, because I know that it's his next card.
Well, he's got a Doomguard, I think. Yeah, I mean, the tap Argus play was okay, but this is the most powerful play.
Yeah, he's actually going to start to push a bit of damage.
He's pushing that damage. Oh, dangerous. It's Swipe's best friend, the Azure Drake.
Oh, he's going to go for it.
Well, it's got the Wrath on the Doomguard. That's pretty okay. He's still facing down 7 damage, so I think he's going to need to find that Swipe eventually. Ooh, not a good one. That would have been nice at the start of the turn.
Yep. Still going to be nice next turn, but now he's sort of given up a lot of the pressure that he has on the board. He went from having all that power to
I don't know.
6.
I don't know how much I like that trade. You do have to kind of respect the fact that Druid can combo you out pretty fast, and they can push a lot of damage. Maybe he drew the Swipe, because you have to realize Realistic had 3 draws from the Azure Drake and the Wrath and the top deck from the turn. So there was a decently higher chance that he did draw into the Swipe, and LBYS kind of respected that, but I feel like against Druid, you just have to push your damage and hope they don't have much. You just have to kind of go for it.
Well, there it is, but a couple turns too late.
Yeah, his 7/7 survived, so that's good. Still gonna be tough, though. I mean...
Ooh,
okay.
Sergeant.
Yeah, he drew perfectly on curve stuff, so he gets to get through these in a pretty efficient manner, depending on how the boombots hit.
So, probably Abusive Sergeant.
I'd probably...
Abusive Sergeant the Boombot all the way to the far left, with the far right from his perspective, and then plop the Direwolf in between.
Well...
And depending where the Boombot hits, you can guarantee that the second Boombot will get the killing blow on the Ancient of War, so you can make it go somewhere else.
Yeah, you can... You could just put the 7/7 into the war, but I guess he wants that to hit face. So he's going to go with the non-Direwolfed one, and now he's going to go with the the 5-3, and then he gets kill off the ooze. Yeah, I like this. Now he has to think, do I really want to play around combo? I agree
Nope.
with the nope. And so there is a little bit of justice. There was no Savage Roar off the top.
And there was no swipe immediately after the implosion.
Yeah, things are looking up.
LBYS is saying, you know what? Maybe I will play some Druid.
Nah. This is why he doesn't play Druid, because it's so bad. Well, Realistic's alive. But, he does get to clear the full board. I didn't quite catch that. I thought he would leave one minion.
And LBYS actually out of Doom Guards.
Yeah, and,
I think you saved the Voidwalker to block a minion that you'd play next turn. Because if you're only playing a creature every turn.
You think so?
Yeah.
Alright, well this is going to get really scary for LBYS, because he doesn't really have a draw to win, and Realistic's going to set up a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is... It's going to be really close to game. I don't think LBYS can tap.
Well, I think he has to. He's dead either way.
Was he? He wasn't.
No, he was at 14. There was
he was at 12. He had the taunt. So he was at 12, and his opponent could have pushed through the taunt with the 4-3, and then he'd have 10 on board plus 1 from hero power. That's 11. But you were at 12. You could have played the Haunted Creeper, and then your opponent probably can't clear that. You get the Power Overwhelming off guaranteed, and then you have to top deck into some damage or something. But didn't happen. He went for the tap. But I think he needed, like, Defender of Argus off that tap.
Yeah.
I guess he decided that was his best chance. And so Realistic pulls it out. Didn't really need flashy combo or anything. Just cleared the board and held on.
Another notch on the Druid hate wall.
Yeah. So,
LBYS.
well, Druid's out of the way now, at least.
Even his picture, there's a little bit of sorrow in that. My face when
that selfie
turn
was
2 wild growth every game.
Yes, that selfie was taken directly after the wild growth on 2.
Yep.
Well, he has a nice start this game, but again, it's going to be Cogmaster.
I feel like the Aggro Paladin has a lot of tools to fight back early on against the mech shaman, though.
Well, the aggro
for once all across the board.
Yeah, the Paladin cards in general are just more efficient than mechs. Mechs are basically a little... Well, the mech shaman cards especially are under-budgeted stat-wise because they have such powerful effects like Wind Fury. But Wind Fury doesn't help when it comes to trading. Wind Fury does nothing for trading. Whereas Divine Shield, the Paladin mechanic, basically is Wind Fury, it's just kind of delayed.
Mm-hmm.
You get Wind Fury while trading. You just get an extra life. So it's quite a bit better when you look at it that way.
Yeah, and I mean, it's about to begin here because he can trade into the Whirling Zap-O-Matic. The Cogmaster goes on to 1 attack. He still keeps his Annoyertron alive, and then he can then he can play like Knife Juggler and start pushing. So
well, and then you can like taunt up something, or you can Kings up something next turn. I mean,
yeah, you play Knife Juggler with Argent Squire, and then Blessing and Kings to Argent Squire next turn.
Things are going to get pretty out of control pretty fast. This is, like you said, favored for the Paladins, so it's not necessarily an unexpected result that the game's going this way. It's going to be tough for Realistic to really burn out LBYS. He does have the Doom Hammer, that's quite a lot of damage, but unless he plays like a Tech Lightning Storm, it's going to be really tough. He's actually going to go for the Owl, probably trade. If he hits this knife, which he did not, so I would assume he won't trade now. Oh, he will.
You assumed wrong, sir.
Yeah, I feel like you can reasonably assume they don't have Lightning Storm. You can just hit face.
Yeah.
Like, what's the worst that can happen? Like, look, even Realistic's hitting face. He just doomhammered the face.
Wow, double Blessing of Kings. This is going to be able to push through a lot of damage.
Yeah. It's going to be pretty nuts. Realistic really wants to top deck like Earthshock. Which also, it's important. LBYS put that on the vanilla 1-1 because of Earthshock. Doesn't want his Owl or his Leopardome especially getting Earthshocked. And now, Realistic has to trade.
Yeah, but I think it's just too late right now.
Okay, he's still facing. A little bit. Yeah, I mean, a second Blessing of Kings here pretty much seals the game. A little surprised he didn't put it on the 1-1.
Well, again, you said the Earthshock.
Yeah, but at this point, if your opponent Earthshocks, you'd rather him Earthshock the 1-1 Divine Shield, just so you get the extra power from the Owl.
Yeah, I suppose so.
One attack's more valuable than, yeah.
Oh, the
Yeah,
double Doomhammer the Leopard Nose.
Pretty big sigh of relief there for LBYS, but I mean, it's about expected. That was a really nice matchup for him. I guess he's feeling like, finally I win a matchup I'm supposed to win.
Yeah. Well, he goes up 2-1 in the series now, so he just has to find a win with this Warlock where wins him.
Uh-oh.
So he's had 4 losses so far with the Warlock. All 3 of his losses in the first series of the day were with his Warlock against Osaka, and his only loss in this series has been with that Warlock. So he's got to find a win with it. I mean, again, these guys have brought these decks all the way through the open bracket that they participated in yesterday. They get to the top 4, so they are proven. These aren't decks that these guys just decided, you know what, today I feel like playing Zoo. No, he said that yesterday, and it was successful.
Yesterday he said tomorrow, and today he's just doing it. Now, he does have Mortal Coil, which hasn't been amazing, but if there's one matchup it's really nice in, it's against Hunters that play turn 1 2-1s. So, finally he gets a little rewarded for that deck tech selection. And this is a bad matchup for the Warlock, but it's not unwinnable. And he does have the Void Caller to kind of cheat out a Doomguard later this game. That helps you race them quite a bit. Looks like Realistic could clear off this Imp Gang boss with the Glaive Zuka. It's pretty risky to leave an Imp Gang boss untouched. But he will. So, decides pushing face damage is worth it. What's important, though, is he buffed up the Knife Juggler so that if LBYS wants to trade, it's no longer as efficient as it once was. He doesn't get to leave around the Imp Gang boss.
Yeah, it seems like a big difference between these players. In a situation where a trade is optional and not completely obvious to not go for it, Realistic will go face, and LBYS will trade.
Yeah, with these face decks, I mean, basically, as ironic as it sounds, kind of the safer option is to hit face. It's like, when in doubt, go face. Because you don't want to look back at a game and think, okay, if I went face there, I would have won. And that happens a lot, and sometimes you can't help it. You know, you can't literally always go face, even if it turns out, in hindsight, that would have won you the game.
Yeah.
But obviously, you do have to kill off some things, like that Direwolf last turn. I'd like him to kill off the 1-1 this turn to play on Defender Vargas. Yeah, so it's not like he's just going face because, oh yeah, that's what his deck does. He realizes win is not the correct time, according to his hand and the current game state.
Yeah, and LBS might be in trouble. He's having a lot of difficulty getting going. He's just having trouble having things stick on the board, and Realistic sort of has the dream curve here with the Lothab into the Savannah Highmane. He can almost guarantee that he's going to have a decent board state to plop the Savannah Highmane down on.
Well, LBYS could just take this board state by storm if he did something like Knife Juggler, Direwolf, the knife goes into the Lothab, and then you trade in, and suddenly you have a Knife Juggler, a Direwolf, and a Doomguard. The Void Color is going to be a pretty huge swing this game, so
But Doomguard really doesn't do that well against Savannah High mains.
Yeah, they trade about equally to the face because you can't really trade with the Savannah High main because of the extra 2/2s.
Equally to the face.
Yeah, they trade with the face.
Wise words.
Just like
They
this
just sort of ignore each other, and then they're like, "You want to go face? Okay, I'll go face too."
Yeah, I mean, now at this point, it's pretty much like I said. Doomguard's good for racing, but it's kind of past that point. It's a little far gone for LBYS here. You can't really race. You have to try to win on defense now, which is hard to do. I mean, he will get to taunt up Void Caller, number 2.
Well, he was really hoping that that was going to be the Doomguard that came out of that one.
Mm-hmm. A little surprised he didn't taunt up the Void Caller over the egg. Because this way you don't get the 4/4 from the egg. And you don't guaranteed get the Doomguard next turn. So, is this lethal?
Don't think so.
You trade in the Wolf Rider, you trade in the 1/1, you unleash for 6, and it's exact lethal.
Is it?
Yeah. Yep, this is lethal.
Oh, yeah.
Do have to sequence it properly, which it looks like he's going to. Yep. And that's it. So, like, maybe taunting up the Void Caller would have given him a little extra taunt. Would have at least let him survive. And then, I suppose what he was thinking is he needs to get a Mal'Ganis off of the Void Caller.
Yeah.
And so,
I mean, it also lets him choose, like, when he gets to, like, plop it out.
Yeah. Pretty unfortunate for LBYS. That puts him at 0-5 with this Zudak. He has one more chance, and it's make or break time now. But he does get a nice matchup. He had this last match against Oskaka. Unfortunately lost to a pretty nice curve, but the Shaman deck doesn't always draw that optimally. I mean, we've seen a lot of Cogmaster starts today, but when you don't start with Cogmaster, when you don't hit that turn to... Okay, he got Cogmaster. I'll stop talking.
What's that, like 3 for 3 now with Shaman decks?
That's 4 for 4, actually. Because
wow.
Realistic got it against Irony.
So the difference here for LBYS is he's either going to go 1-5 with this Warlock deck and never play it again, or go 0-6 and never play Hearthstone again.
I guess, yeah, you can think of it that way. I mean, it is kind of a characteristic of a veteran card game player to know that any one deck at any one time can kind of fall flat completely.
Yeah.
So a lot of card game veterans will be pretty unfazed by 0-6 runs, which also means in turn you should be pretty unfazed by 6 and 0 runs.
Yeah. It's also a characteristic of a veteran human being to get really pissed when you get unlucky.
It is, yes. Never lucky.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is a pretty decent curve for Realistic here. Well, he just sort of ruined his perfect curve.
Yeah. LBYS just kind of throws his hands up. He's like, well...
Threw his hands in the air because he really cared.
Here we go. Oh, he rolled 4.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe he would have quit Hearthstone if he rolled 2.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say there's a chance, but he's still in this. I mean, he gets to taunt up an egg this game, which is really big against a deck without many attacking units. It's just super awkward. I feel like Realistic should go face here.
Oh, which one should attack?
Maybe he's like role-playing the Smork song where he's like, do me trade. Oh, no, he actually is going to trade.
A little bit interesting.
He was thinking about which imp to kill, and that one looked at him funny.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, Defender of Argus is going to allow LBYS to fight back on board.
Mm-hmm. I just don't really see what that one imp was really threatening. I'm also surprised LBYS decided to throw his taunt in. It does let him trade nicely, so that it's going to work out pretty well, but Okay, he was afraid of Earthshock, basically, which is pretty legitimate. I
Hmm.
mean,
I mean, how do you lose this game? You're Nerubian Hank
right.
gets
The
Earthshock,
the
so
4/4 is pretty huge, yeah. So
yeah.
it makes a lot more sense upon further analysis. But yeah, and I mean, LBYS is stabilized. He's back on the board. The implosion for 4 was a pretty huge deal.
Yeah, now he's starting to push damage, and he's setting up for
He's
Zia's 9,
ahead.
10. He's 15 damage on board.
So how do you get crackled out of this game, TJ?
Well, there's a chance that Realistic's just dead. 2
Yeah,
damage is
yeah,
all LBYS needs. An Abusive Sergeant, the second defender of Argus.
yep. So
Power
oh, there
Overwhelming
it
also.
is.
He found it!
He got the win.
1 and 5 with the Warlock deck. LBYS finally manages to find the win with the Warlock. The bright side, his other decks are undefeated.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. I mean, little unlucky overall with that Zoo deck, but at the end of the day, third place, can't be too disappointed. Kind of sad for Realistic, who his Shaman deck didn't actually get the job done too much, despite having some what looked like pretty decent starts, but Shaman deck wasn't quite good enough against Warlock in particular, is what he
Yep.
lost to.
Yeah.
But he does walk home with some GEICO points. I believe he gets a Blizzard World Championship point, which can be pretty important in not only just qualifying you for the last chance qualifier if he's not already, but it will really help you break ties if you're competing to get into that top 23.
Yeah, definitely. And LBYS, along with his 1 World Championship point as well, and his 7 Geico points, he'll go home with $50 as well. So getting a little bit of money for his success in the tournament so far. Even though he didn't finish top 2, still a really impressive run for LBYS, and Realistic as well for making top 4. So we do have one more match remaining for the day. It is the finals between Osaka and, of course, the Korean player Irony. So that should be a really exciting match. The winner of that match will get a spot in the feature tournament, and they'll be guaranteed even more Geico points, and they'll have a really good shot at making a run for the grand finals at PAX. So Chalky, who's going to take it?
I mean, whoever's under my name is going to take it. Actually, it's been the opposite way today. Your guy has won a lot. But I'm going to go with whoever's under my name. But
All right.
but really, I mean, I like Osaka. I got to go with my fellow Forsen boy.
All right, well, I'm going to go with Irony because
Okay. Well,
yep.
hopefully production takes note of that, and yeah. All right.
I don't think they'll have time in the 2-minute break. But we are going to have to go to a break. Make sure you guys, during the break, head over to geico.onog.gg. Right on the front page of the website, you can enter in to win an official TSM PC, as well as get a Geico quote, seed money on your car insurance. And the TSM PC is actually really sick. So you can go there, you sign up for the newsletters, enter in your email and stuff, and you're entered in to win that sweepstakes. Also, keep in mind the next NA qualifier is actually tomorrow, so you can head over to liquidheart.com on the right side of the page under upcoming events. The ONOG NA qualifier, I believe it's either number 6 or number 7, but it's on the right side there. If you want to have your chance to compete in these qualifiers and in the feature tournaments and the grand finals at PAX, make sure you head over there, compete. Best of luck to you if you do. But we are going to go to a quick commercial break, but the finals for EU qualifier number 6 between Osaka and Irony will continue right after this.